Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Chess and Chat, the chat show where I bring on a guest to talk everything business, everything entrepreneur, while we try to play chess. And this week I have the co-owner of Knowlton, the co-host of Business Anchors, the eco-warrior, and the guy that likes to wear a suit to impress Gary V. It is Lloyd Knowlton.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I love the intro. And just for anyone that doesn't know, my suit did not impress Gary V. And yes, I do try and be an eco-warrior. But thank you for that introduction, Joe. That was lovely.
No, that's all right. Just in case anyone doesn't know who you are, they probably do. But do you want to explain what Knowlton is and your part in it, and also the Business Anchors podcast?
Yes. Oh, we can definitely plug the podcast as well, Joe. So I'm Lloyd Knowlton, run a business called Knowlton. Very creative there with the name, with my brother Dan Knowlton. And we focus on creative video campaigns that drive a trackable ROI. And we're working with people like the BBC, Wall. We've worked with Eurotunnel, Holiday Extras, Compare and Recycle, lots of different brands and things. We started back in the day in our parents' spare room, and we've been growing our team and our business since 2016 and having a lot of fun while we're doing it. And Business Anchors podcast, you should all definitely listen to that. Probably right now you should all just get your phone out, search the podcast, and listen to it after this. You'll have a great time.
I genuinely thought you was gonna say, like, just stop this.
Just stop watching this. Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be crap anyway. We're gonna try and talk while playing chess.
Don't tell them yet, Joe. Don't reveal that now.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring up the board of play here. I realised last week after I've got to do my move. Boards. Let's do them. That. People can also see my mouse when watching the stream. And last week I was like pre-moving, and like I don't know how much you play chess.com, but you can do like arrows to say where you're going to move and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And I realized I was doing that, and like if you wanted to cheat, you could just watch the stream and you'd know exactly what I'm planning.
I did think about using the guys we have here to sort of try and help me cheat in chess, but I thought that's probably not very good ethically and not a good use of our resources here in the business. I decided against it in the end.
You could do it the way that the pro did it. Did you see that news thing about the guy that allegedly cheated?
Yes, I heard rumours of how he did it. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. It was an interesting technique.
You didn't take that approach then? You didn't go that
far? No, thankfully not.
Just in case no one knows what we're on about, there's a pro that allegedly cheated by using anal beads, and they would vibrate in certain ways to tell him how to move. So allegedly,
I bet you didn't think you'd say anal beads this early in the live stream with me, did you, Joe?
Because you're on, anything could happen, really. Normally, no, but we should probably talk about business at some point. So
yes, that might be a good idea.
There's a few things that just for my own interest, really, I want to chat with you about. So the first we sort of started talking about before the stream went live, but you and Dan have been quite vocal about the fact that the first 3 years of business is really hard and you struggle, but you pretend that you're not struggling. And I want to know if you think someone like has to go through that struggle, or if there is a way, like if someone now is thinking of starting a business, they've never had any business experience, is there a way for them to not struggle for 3 years and become successful quicker?
Yeah, good question. I suppose when we spoke about on the podcast our struggle in the early days of business, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, there are people struggling in the world with much bigger issues than, we're trying to work out how this business is going to work. So I suppose when we say struggle, it's more just getting through the learning phase and all the little things you learn when you're growing a business, and that kind of thing. So I suppose I don't want to make people think, we were living on the streets and trying to make ends meet. Which, there's obviously an element of that in the early days, but and I think, to be honest, I think that struggle and the initial phase of learning how to run a business kind of needs to happen. I think I've met a few people along my sort of business journey that have had a bit of a head start in some way and haven't necessarily had to do that. And it's kind of caught up with them. I've spoken to people in the past that have had, for some reason have access to money and therefore don't need to make much of an income in the early days. And actually those people have ended up sort of burning through those savings or inheritance or whatever that's been, because they sort of haven't had to learn those lessons. I suppose I wouldn't necessarily try and get away from that struggle and that learning phase. I think it's a good thing. It certainly was for us. And I always say, I think it's good if you're looking back at stuff you did last year and you're cringing, it's probably good, because it means you've really progressed in that year and you're thinking, oh my God, that looks terrible. Whereas if you're looking back kind of like, oh yeah, that stuff I did last year, I still think that's really good, it probably shows you're not progressing as much as you could be. But yeah, that's my take on it anyway, Joe.
Yeah, I really like the sort of positive spin there, that although, yes, it is a struggle for 3 years, you're actually learning how to create a lean business, that you're getting all the skills that someone who's just been given a cash injection of like 100 grand doesn't necessarily get. That's a good way to look at it, because we were talking before, but I went through a similar thing with my first proper business with Carl, where we struggled financially, but I definitely learned so many more lessons about how to become more successful on your own, rather than having to rely on investors and capital and all of this as well. And then jumping off the back of that as well, then, as I'm gonna do a cheeky porn move. That sounded right. That's because someone's going to clip that out of context. So you're now working with some pretty big names. You got Holiday Extra recently, Sunny D.
Yeah.
You worked with FIFA in the past, Nestle, and some big names. If someone's looking, like starting from like day one of marketing agency worlds, looking at someone like you, how, I don't want to say easy, but like what was the like one thing you did to elevate to that level compared to just doing your local restaurant, your local dentist, or whatever it is?
One thing that's really helped us along the way, I think in any business journey, there's kind of like those big milestones of like you said, when we started, we were working with local hotels and local small businesses, one-man bands and that kind of thing. And then you kind of get that milestone client. So it might be, rather than your local hotel, you've met, there's an area manager and you realize, oh, there's 7 of these hotels, and you kind of get that milestone client that's bigger than the rest. And now you're working with a chain of 7 hotels. And then beyond that, there's another milestone client. So for us, the first sort of brand that we felt might actually be recognized to people was Eurotunnel that we worked with. And I remember getting a call from Dan at Cobham Services. I parked up on the way back from some sort of client meeting, and Dan calling me to say we've won Eurotunnel as a client. And I remember in this car park, suited and booted, kind of jumping around, thinking that's a really big milestone. And that will help us kind of jump off that point to get to a better known brand than Eurotunnel that will be recognized all over the world rather than kind of Kent. But yeah, I think what helped us get there was what we kind of call it milking the top 10%. So a lot of people, some people don't talk about the work that they do, and they just kind of try and do marketing, but don't actually talk about good work they're doing with their current clients. And I think better businesses kind of actually do talk about it and say, look at these great results we're getting for these businesses, or look what our product does for these businesses. And then we try and take it to the next level. And we sort of say it's best to just talk about the top 10% of your clients. So you've got a range of clients paying you different amounts. For us, we kind of judge it financially, but also creativity wise. So if we've got really creative clients with a big budget, that's like the best thing for us. So it's like, right, okay, this month, let's make sure we're talking about that project because that's the most exciting. And that helps attract more of that level client. So that's kind of how we've made those jumps, I guess. And Eurotunnel was the first, and then started working with Wall, who do the hair clippers and stuff like that, and then did training with, like I said, brands like Citibank and FIFA and Nestle and that sort of thing. And recently we won a contract with the BBC to help them with their TikTok strategy, which again, to me, that felt like another milestone client, like the credibility that the BBC has and the fact we're supporting them with their strategy on TikTok. Hopefully us talking about that will lead to people thinking, well, you know, if they're credible enough to be supporting the BBC with their strategy, they're good enough to work with us. So yeah, we call it milking the top 10%, but sort of talking about those top clients you're working with the idea of trying to get that next step up.
Yeah. And I like the way you've described that, actually. It'd be like stepping stones. You're just going up one at a time. Peter coming in and saying hi. So thank you for coming, Peter.
Hi,
I'm
Peter.
already starting to lose. I've just lost my bishop without realising. Yeah, but I like the way that you explain that by just sort of creeping up on steps. I think a lot of people go in and might pitch for big clients like right away and find they're completely outmatched, and they're probably wasting their time trying to go for the bigger clients where they do need to slowly build.
Yeah, I think the reality is that slow build is much more manageable for everyone involved. You know, you're not going to disappoint clients by having to sort of learn fast on the projects you're working with them on. So you know, you're not going to disappoint them there. And I think, although really quick growth and those exciting deals that you might do seem exciting, I think the kind of slow build and slow growth that we've experienced, for me, is much more stress-free and better in the long run rather than the kind of quick wins.
Yeah, definitely. And in that, you brought up that you're going to be working with the BBC for TikTok,
Yes.
which is obviously a very big brand, and TikTok sort of back in the news again for being banned in the government. When we're talking about platforms, so let's bring it. We've been talking about agency life, but let's bring it back to businesses as a whole. When we're talking about platforms, are there any platforms in particular that you are like, okay, this is going to be really good in the future that maybe currently are a bit smaller? So TikTok's an obvious one, but have you seen any big changes on any other platforms?
To be honest, the biggest change we've been managing, where we do a lot of video production for the campaigns we work on, the biggest thing we've been managing, rather than a platform, it's just the massive shift to sort of vertical video first approach. I think there was a point a couple of years ago where basically for every platform you needed completely different content, you know, whether it was like landscape kind of video 16:9 like you'd get on a TV worked best, and then Facebook or Instagram it might have been square video, and then there's stories that's more 9:16 vertical video, and the biggest shift we've sort of been dealing with is trying to make the most of it for our clients with what we're producing, because there are a lot more of the platforms now where you can create fairly similar content. There's tweaks that need to be made and stuff for different platforms, but you know, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, even on LinkedIn, vertical video we're finding is working really well at the moment. So I suppose rather than a platform, it's more been adapting to that kind of thing, of the fact that vertical video is working in lots of different ways, and how we can adapt our content creation process and how we manage our campaigns to get the best value we can for our clients. That's been a big shift, but there aren't any other kind of social platforms that are on our radar at the moment. I think there's also this thing we kind of do where being the pioneer of anything and the first is usually a lot of hard work and takes a lot of energy, whereas being sort of in the top 2% and just following those pioneers is usually the best for resources and stuff like that. So until we see a platform that's, you know, there's genuine traction, we sort of wait and see what's going on. So obviously TikTok we're massively invested in at the moment for our clients and for our own business, because that's really started to prove its worth. And when we see signs of another platform, we'll start experimenting and try and be one of the first, and see what we can do there.
Like it. So Peter's saying he really likes the 10% approach. Do you have any tips on what you should share of the projects to make it effective? So what in particular would you share?
Yeah, definitely. So something we always do, and we're always like, why do more people not do this, is just using as much data and facts as possible. Because I think whenever people are marketing their business, you're obviously trying to prove to other people that that your business is worth working with and you're going to do a good job for them. And the best way to do that is actually using data and facts. So like, oh, you want to sell this many products to this many people, and it would be like, okay, let's in our pitch deck use the data from previous clients. Like, that is exactly what we've done with this client, and that's how we've done it. But I suppose we take it to the next level and say, how can we create social content talking about those projects? And even if it's a bit awkward and we can't actually say what brand it is, we can kind of say, oh, we work with a brand in like the kind of food and drink industries, and we got them a 3.5 ROI on what they invested and stuff like that. But yeah, we just try and get as close to actual data and facts to share. And that really goes a long way in sort of giving you credibility and making people trust you and want to work with you, hopefully. I'm finding it really hard to be good at chess and answer these questions, Joe. I've realised how long I've been taking to make these moves. Right.
It's
how
really
much
hard.
am I going to be losing?
You're still winning at the minute, so
okay,
you're good.
Right.
I'll just add to that as well, along with the facts. I found that doing like testimonials and it from the client's point of view as well. So you can obviously say, look, we got this similar client for return on ad spend, and here's a little video from them saying how great we are, or here's a quote for them saying how we're great. So sort of double up what Lloyd just said with the facts, with the actual point of view from the client as well. I missed that as well. Bloody, it's going bad for me. This is. So
you've got to ask questions and be good at chess.
I've got all of it going on now. I've very almost just lost my queen there as well. I nearly took there without realising that your rook would have got it.
Almost got you.
Very close. Okay, let me think here. I don't think I even have a good move at the minute. I suppose what I should be doing while you're thinking, I should be asking you questions or starting a conversation, shouldn't I, Joe? Rather than just laughing that you're trying to be good at chess whilst doing this. No, it's all good. I've on the I think it was on one of your podcast episodes, Dan brought up that you've taken, actually it might have been you that said it, that you'd taken courses on chess on like Skillshare or something. So there was a conversation about you subscribing to some sort of training platform, and the only training that you've actually used it for is chess. Is that
yes?
correct?
That was I think Masterclass is the platform. It's quite a pricey one that I tried for like 6 months or something, but I was like thinking about it for work and stuff, and then I found a chess one. I have to admit, I watched the first like episode or and then I didn't watch anymore. But maybe that first training session might help me. You never know. But it doesn't look like it the way this is going at the moment.
I'll let you think about this one. This is a chick. Oh, okay. Yeah. You just.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I'm back in it.
Now. We're moving fast.
Maybe I'm back in it. Okay. Right, let me go to the next question. Let's get it back on business again. Actually, so I don't know which way to go with this, because I'm going to be selfish. Actually, I'm going to ask a question about running an agency rather than business for this one. So when you're looking for content about running an agency, and like all these people that sell courses and all this stuff that is out there, something that comes up time and time again is that your business will be much easier if you niche down, i.e. you become a marketing agency for gyms or a marketing, but you obviously haven't done that. You've got a wide range. What is your view on niching down as a marketing agency, but I guess also as any service-based industry? Like, it could be the same for accountants.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I think niching down to specific industries and that kind of thing can be a really good way to differentiate yourself. So I think when you're a smaller business trying to boost growth at the start, I think it's a really good way to differentiate yourself. If you're trying to pitch for some business or sell a product to someone, and there's going to be five other businesses or products that they're considering, I think the one that's specialist for them is going to get a bit more of a look in than the general ones. I suppose we've looked at it more. We've almost kind of niched down with our services that we offer. So when we started back in like 2016, we were sort of saying, "Oh, we'll help you grow your business with online marketing." We were kind of building websites. I know we've spoken about this before, Joe. We were doing everything. Social media, we were doing training. We were doing email marketing. And now we rather than niche down to a specific industry or, specialism like that, it was more, right, we've worked out over time what we're really good at, and that's producing creative video marketing campaigns that we can get a trackable return on investment for our clients with. So that's how we've we've got the specialism from a different angle there and kind of used that. So I suppose that's a different way to approach it. I think depending on what your long-term goals are, niching down obviously limits your pool of customers that you have. So as you grow and get bigger, it might be a bit more challenging because there's just less, if you say, right, I'm going to do marketing for accountants, obviously there's much less accountants than any business in any industry. So I think it can be a bit more challenging if you have really big growth goals. But I think most businesses don't have goals that are that big of, turning over millions and millions and needing to find even more clients. So I certainly wouldn't try and persuade anyone not to niche down like that. I think it's a good way in the early days to try and grow a bit quicker and differentiate yourself.
Well, that's a cheeky little move while you're talking there.
I thought I'd just do it at the end of me talking.
What do I do here?
To be honest, Joe, I don't feel I've been focusing enough to know if that was actually a good move to make or not. But it looked like it could make things interesting. So it
screwed up my plans. So
that's good then. That's good.
I think I'm just going to do that. There you go. Off the back of that, what are your goals? What is Knowlton's goals? What do you want to? Do you want to be a £10 million company? What are you aiming for?
No, we don't at the moment. So, I suppose personal goals. Dan and I have always had this long-term goal. In about 2018, we set this long-term goal that by 2030, we'd grow the business to a point where we could have the choice to step back from the business if we wanted to. So it's running in a way that, we've hired people that are better than us, and financially it's providing us what we need to support our lives and things like that. So there's that kind of personal goal that we're aiming for, and we obviously need to get to a certain size to make that realistic. Still got sort of 7.5 years to go there, so we've got plenty of time. But the goals for the business and, in right now and leading up to that 7 years time and beyond, we're just trying to really be, work on the most creative projects we can and outperform traditional marketing. That's a key thing we've been communicating. Like, what we've been working on does normally outperform the traditional marketing results and people have been getting. So we're really trying to show these brands and businesses you can be creative and you can be a bit different and it can give you a return. Because I think a lot of people think sometimes if you do something creative and out there, it's almost like well, yeah, let's chuck some money at that and just do something different. Whereas we're sort of proving you can do that and make sure you get a really good return, a better return than if you did something kind of that everyone in your industry is doing. And it's a lot more fun being creative for your brand and your business rather than doing what everyone else is doing. So yeah, that's kind of my personal goals and the goals of the business at the moment, doing a lot of that creative stuff with more brands and businesses.
Okay, I like that. And in I want to say 2019 or it might be 2018, 2019, you rebranded. So you weren't called Knowlton, and then you rebranded as Knowlton. I assume being called Knowlton and being the face of it all makes it very hard for you to sell the business if you ever wanted to exit. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, yeah. So that's definitely something we've been considering along the way. I think the name Knowlton, I don't think causes any issues because there's lots of businesses. Oh shit! What happened there? Okay, there's lots of businesses that have the surname of someone and aren't linked with that person anymore. So I don't think that's an issue. But where we as personalities and faces of the business are certainly very linked with the brand at the moment, I think that's something that we need to deal with over time. We did actually, maybe about a year and a half, we started stepping back a bit from content and introduced more content with the team being in it and that sort of thing. But we decided about a year ago, we think it's, with our long-term goals, too early to do that, and we should just keep going ahead, being very much the faces of the business and keeping on talking at events and doing things like this, Joe. And then we've been advised by people that have built agencies in the past, quite large agencies, that we can kind of maybe sort of 2028, something like that, we can be like, okay, right now we're actively deciding to introduce some new faces, switch up our marketing a bit to be less around our personalities and that sort of thing, and do it there. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Who knows if it's the right thing, Joe? We'll find out in the long term if that's a silly thing to do or if that's worthwhile.
And I guess, you never really know until it happens to you, until you have to actually make the decision.
Yeah.
God.
And I mean, I'll talk a bit, Joe, so you can look at the chessboard. But we really enjoy the work that we do. So we don't have a problem if we are linked with the business long term and that kind of thing. Currently, that would be absolutely fine. We really enjoy what we do and being the face of the business and that kind of thing. So yeah, if it causes us issues down the line, that's something we'll deal with, but not too concerned at the moment.
Yeah, that's good. And I think a lot of people do try to think too long term with it as well. And it's actually probably can be damaging. But, no. I'd do that out of retribution.
Yeah.
Just out of anger.
Yeah. But no, you were saying some people think too long term. I think it's a real balance, because I think some people don't think long term at all, and it causes a lot of issues because they're just looking at kind of like what's best this week and this month. Oh, I need to get more sales now, so I'm going to do that. Or I need to make a bigger profit, so I'm going to focus on this for this year. I think you do have to have that long term view, but also, I guess with us, we felt we moved too early to stepping back from being the faces of the business. And in reality, we've kind of got that medium term approach of like, we're in the short, medium term, we're fine with that. And we know that we've got a plan when it comes to it in the long term that we can step away if and when that's something we want to do. So, I think the long term is important, but you don't want to get too ahead of yourselves, I guess. I think that's our kind of approach.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so bringing it back to, as it's looking pretty dire for me, bringing it back to general advice to people. It's something you've spoken about in on the podcast, and Dan spoke about in his newsletter, is AI and how that's changing the marketing world quite a bit.
Yeah.
What AI tools are you actually actively using now? Because I find a lot of people talking about, oh, this is can't even say the word, revolutionizing the marketing
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me to see how many people are actually actively, like in their day to day, using
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Descript or any of these
Yeah.
other tools. Are there any others? Are there any tools that you're actively using?
Yeah. So actively using, as in like it's part of almost every day, is I won't start with ChatGPT because that's the obvious one, but we started using Fathom, which is a tool that records your Zoom calls and writes an AI summary.
Right, yeah.
That's something we use day to day. So because different people in our business have Zoom calls with clients and need to share the information that we've sort of gathered in those calls and that kind of thing, that's something that we've been using a lot. And now all of our calls, we kind of use that. And again, even without the AI part, like it's, you can get a transcript and you can make notes on it and that kind of thing. But the AI summary is quite good where we use Slack. So we have a channel for kind of an internal channel for that client. And if someone's had a call, they'll put the AI summary and it'll say like, Lloyd spoke about this, this, and this. They talked about this challenge and they agreed this action. And obviously as a quick summary for other people that don't want to like watch a half an hour recording of a Zoom call, but would find it really useful to kind of know what's going on. That's been a really useful one for us that we're using, literally every day or two. So that's good. Did I mean to make that move? Hopefully that's not stupid.
But it's not dangerous, so you're fine.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, the other one is ChatGPT. Like, I think it is more probably me personally and a couple of other people on our team, but we are genuinely using that, every couple of days or daily. And it's not really like a lot of the sort of AI gurus are talking about, like, oh, it can do all your work for you and it can write all your copy and stuff. But it is more like finding efficiencies in the way we're planning things or researching things and stuff like that. So something as boring as I was looking for a new printer for our office, and it's like, as an owner of the business, like I don't want to put too much of my brain energy and time into choosing a printer because it's like, it's probably not a good use of my time. So because we've got our positive impact plan at Knowlton and we try and make sure we're doing the right thing for the planet and stuff, I got it to compare printers on their kind of carbon footprint and that kind of thing. So there's like little tasks like that we're using it for, and drafting sort of ad copy and things like that, and finding ideas and inspiration for copy that we're writing. As I said, not using it like some of the gurus are saying, basically like make it write all of your stuff, but more, let's get some inspiration or some points that, these could be good to persuade potential customers to buy this product, and then write copy around that as a human, rather than it just magically happening.
In a robot. I've got my newsletter coming out tomorrow, and this one's about AI tools. And the way I've said it is I think the two ways it's really going to change the game is research. It's going to be 10 times easier because for two reasons, like you said there, it can compare printers or whatever. But the way I've used it before is when I need a fact to emphasize a point. I've asked ChatGPT. And then it said, 61% of people are unemployed in this area, or it's given me like a fact that I can use. And then I always fact check that on Google, because ChatGPT is sometimes terrible at being correct. But
it's a good starting point though, isn't it? Even if you have to check it, it's better. You've gone for a point of not knowing that fact to being like, okay, this sounds like it's going to work, and I'll double check that it makes sense and it is a real fact.
And then the other side is what you said as well, the whole inspiration side of it. So you can get ideas that then start your own human brain snowballing and coming up with other stuff. Have you tried anything like video? Have you heard of video, as in VIDYO?
I don't think that one. And I guess the ones I mentioned are the ones I'm using personally, but I know our post-production team and our production team have started playing around with some other tools with sort of imagery and videos. But yeah, I don't think video is one that I've heard about them using. What's that, Joe? Is that something you've used?
Yeah, so video, basically it takes long form content and then it cuts it down to short form content, but it also does all the editing for you as well. So you, at the start, you say like, I want this style of captions, I want this layout, blah, 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 blah. And then it takes your long form content, works out which parts are going to be good for social, and then it cuts it and then edits it in whichever style you set out. And I've done it a few times for a specific client that does long form video, and it's worked really well. Once again, as a start, it's not quite there yet. It doesn't do it perfectly, but it's actually done really well. So they do a podcast which is an hour long, and it makes 5 clips from the podcast, and it does a really good job of picking out the actual most interesting parts of the podcast.
Yeah, because that's something that takes a lot of resource with the Business Anchors podcast. So we've got a lot better over time, but we have one of our production team making notes when we're on the podcast, kind of pointing out bits for our editors that that might be a good clip to use and stuff. So that obviously takes effort, and then we have our editors working on it and editing that stuff. And I think, it looks like this is the sort of thing that that AI is definitely going to become just a normal part of the process moving forward. Already we're looking into a lot of different tools that could do that, but I don't think there's any doubt now. There's things that people aren't sure of, like I guess things like the metaverse. People are like, is that going to be a thing we're using day to day? I think there's still a big argument whether things like that are going to be part of life or not, a significant part of life. Whereas I think these AI tools, it's just like I can already see, and we're already experiencing, it just is going to be part of the process in most businesses to be using these tools, because it wouldn't make any sense not to at this point. So excited to see how things change, but it's that challenge of us business owners now of trying to stay ahead of the curve and spotting these opportunities, because if we don't, we'll get left behind, and competitors will do it and be producing better stuff and more efficient work than we are and stuff. So it will be challenging and exciting at the same time, I think.
Yeah, I think one thing it's doing is just bringing the barrier of entry down for everyone. So if using AI tools, they're not completely right yet, but a normal business owner can relatively easily put a video together, caption it correctly, edit it correctly, cut it correctly without even having to do anything technical. So I think that's something that us as marketers are going to have to also be aware of, in that can a normal business person just do it now rather than us? But it is exciting. It's definitely an exciting time if you keep on top of it.
Right, chess, Joe.
There's
you remembered we're playing chess?
There's some very weird moves.
Yes, I think I've just done a very strange thing.
This is like such not a normal place for a chess game to be. Like we both lost our queen somehow. Usually you lose a queen, you lose the game.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange.
Yeah, but we're still here.
We're still here.
Maybe.
Oh, I like those noises as well, Joe. I don't know if you're aware that every time I do a move that I might take something, you go, ooh.
Oh.
Good sound effects.
Right, what do I do here?
This is a strange game.
Let's go do that. Okay. We probably should just focus on chess a bit, shouldn't we?
Okay. Right. How shall I?
Oh, that'd do it.
Cool.
That's
sorted. Yeah.
Back to business.
Okay. I did. Yeah. Jay, you should make us focus on the chess.
That genuinely sounded like you were just like being easy this whole time, and you're like, oh, cool, I can focus on chess now. Here you go.
2 seconds later, checkmate. Okay, no,
I did not.
no, that wasn't. I think that was quite lucky, and that was a very weird game. I feel like there should be new chess competitions where you have to focus on something else like this at the same time and see how it goes. Because I think
have you ever heard
they're
of
much
chess
weirder
boxing?
games. No, is that a thing?
So chess.
Is that what we're going to do next, Joe?
Well, we could make a tournament. Yeah. so the premise is you do 2 minutes of boxing and then 2 minutes of chess, and the first person to get knocked out or checkmated loses. So, and it's like a genuine sport, and it looks mental.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I'll suggest us doing that next time, Joe. I'll stick with the chess and answering questions, I think. Yeah.
That'll do for now.
Yeah.
We're not quite, the influencer boxing has become a thing, but maybe not in the marketing space just yet.
I can't. And sorry if this is putting you down more than I should, Joe, but I can't see either of us being good boxers personally. Maybe you'll surprise me, but I know I wouldn't be.
Absolutely not. I took my daughter swimming the other day for half an hour, and I was aching for days. So I'm not doing that. Dan just covered it and said, "Hey guys, who won?"
We should probably tell him
too late.
Yeah.
I can show you the board actually. Oh, that will mean nothing to you, Dan, if you don't know how to play. But Lloyd won.
Yes.
Fair and square. It was harder than we thought with the whole talking, but it was good. Cool. Well, thank you for coming along, talking business and playing chess. Good game. You're the first person to beat me as well, so congratulations.
Oh, that's
on that.
right. Nice. Maybe this will be so popular you'll have to do some kind of Champions of Champions interview and get all the best chess players.
I was gonna say what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and practice every day for 4 months, and I'll invite you back on.
No, I haven't really played, Lloyd. Just when we were last time. Let's go for it.
Yeah. But it was good. If anyone wants to check out all the stuff that we were talking about, the business anchors, where's the best place for them to go and find you, find Knowlton?
You should go to for Knowlton. Just search my surname, so KNOWLTON, anywhere on the internet, any social platform, you'll find us. But for the Business Anchors podcast, head to businessanchors.inc, and that site will lead you to wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can have a look at which episodes might interest you. But if you're going to do anything today, it should be listening to the Business Anchors podcast.
You nearly slipped up.
Yes, nearly said what we're implying with the Business Anchors name. But yes,
was .co.uk taken?
No, it isn't. We're sponsored by .inc domains, Joe, at businessanchors.inc.
Oh yeah, of course, sure. Yeah.
So you've given me a great opportunity to talk about that. No, I won't talk about this one. But yeah, .inc domains are really good as well. So yeah, they've helped us with our site and everything, and helped us with the podcast. So check them out as well.
Nice. Well, any final words before we go?
No, just bad luck, Joe. Maybe next time.
I'm ending the podcast now.
Thank you very much, Joe.
That's all right. See everyone next week.